Welcome back to my interdisciplinary art studio. Hello. Sustainability is a major tenet of my entire interdisciplinary practice, from the paints that I use to make my oil paintings. I make them out of rocks. My artist workwear wardrobe, pew, bam, ooh. This patchwork and applique jumpsuit and patchworked reversible hand-quilted jacket are two of my favorites and most worn studio garments. So if you are somebody that's been wanting to get started on making more sustainable choices in your wardrobe, feature a lot of the scraps that you have lying around. Ooh. I'm gonna show you how I adorned this painting sweatshirt through patchworking scraps and applique. Let's head over to the Maker's Nook and get started. But first, let's do some leaf peeping. It is getting chilly. I've got two sweaters on. In terms of design for this honestly started with me just playing with materials. I was experimenting with these new squares that I got. 4.5-inch square template and a 5.5-inch square template. This is naturally dyed fabric scraps from previous projects. This could be cute. I recently made these little scrappy doos. Ooh, that's so cute. Oh my God, it's like its own thing. All right, we'll see how it shakes up. Oh look, it's Deanna from the future. The patch that I did was the sawtooth star, but I made the center like checkered. This sweatshirt I've had many, many, many years. That I believe is quite clear. So I really want to add a patch to the back. What I'm going to be doing is adding interfacing to it. So I cut a piece to fit and pressed interfacing onto the patch to add stability. A few developments. 1, I stabbed my finger twice. 2, in good news, I figured out how to do a applique looking stitch on my machine. I just got changed because it's not 40 degrees anymore. It's now 60 degrees. Haha, clearly I like this design. I added the interfacing and then I folded under the side, so then I have this big patch. What the interfacing does is it adds structure, so that when I'm gonna add it, it's not gonna be like wavy and stuff. For added stability, I edge stitched around the entire patch, catching the folded edge. Anytime I've done applique, I've done it by hand, and while it does come out really nice, and I am very proud of it, I do think for something a little more utilitarian, having it done by a sewing machine, it's just gonna be a little bit more structurally sound than what I am gonna do. I think it'd be nice to be able to do it by machine sometimes. I figured out a stitch on my machine, number 15, this little guy, so that it's got this like line, and then it's got beep, 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 as if it was a true blanket stitch. I'll be showing you how to applique by hand later in the video. And then it goes like that. I feel like that looks really cute. So now I just need to attach it to the hoodie. It's really easy to have it like move around everywhere. So I think I need to put something stiff underneath it so that it's like flat. Let me see if I have anything that's a similar size. I just stuck this underneath. If you had some cardboard, that'd be good. With everything all pinned. Oh, there goes the pin. You're gonna be my mirror. Then I'll watch back the game tape. What do we think? Does it look okay? You'd tell me, right? When I did my test, it looked better if it was lower my back, just based on my size. I'm just so short. So just centering it, and then I'm just gonna pin it all along here and then set it up the way that I did in the machine and stitch it all along the side. Definitely being slow and steady for this process is essential. Scratch it out. Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. Oh, heck yeah. Ah, I'm so happy. I was thinking what would be cool is if I put a shape coming out of the pocket so you can like unstitch it and then have it like coming out. I've been wanting to try to make I think it's called grandmother flower. Here's some grandmother's flower garden examples. Fiber friend goals. I love them. Leaves are getting crunchier. I cleaned in here, which is Always a miracle. So I'm excited to work on this. Let me get the book. So, gathering up all of my inspiration for this sweatshirt and my resources, writing down what I've learned so far, I got a 3-inch hexagon template and started cutting out the pieces that I need for my flower. Good morning. I'm very excited because I haven't got to work on the sweater in a while. Wearing my patchwork jacket. This is what I call the business side, more professorial. Unfortunately, I only have a little bit of interfacing left, so we may have to patchwork this together too. So I placed this down and then I marked on the edges where to stop, because if you sew all the way, it doesn't work out great. I'm sure many of you out there know how to make this type of design, and you could tell us lots of tips below, which would be so helpful to me as well. I went all the way around, always leaving space on both sides to actually fit in the next petal. I've gotten to this point, and I think it looks okay so far. For my first time, not so bad. I wanted to show you something that I got in the mail. My friend found in Farrell. She's so sweet. She works all with brass, and I've been admiring these quilt-inspired earrings ever since she came out with them. I thought while I was making something quilt-inspired, it would be cool to wear her earrings that she sent me. She's on Instagram. I just love shouting out my favorite artists. I will wear them all the time. It's getting a bit chilly in here. Let's get back to it. And then around the circle, pin this together, stitch it from here to here. So then I leave a little bit of space on both sides, and then this will still be able to open, and then I'll be able to kind of like press it, I think, so it looks good. I think it's fun to just try new designs and just see how it goes. I just want to encourage you, if you are like, I've never quilted, I've never, done any of this stuff before. I love sharing my first times doing things and just experimenting, because I think a lot of times people get it in their heads that like you have to be so experienced and you have to do everything perfect. And I'm just like, absolutely not. How are you supposed to get better if you don't just like try something new? How I got good at painting was just that I kept painting and trying new things. I think I would just hand stitch it because it's so fiddly, but it is nice to kind of try it with the machine. Cool. I'm just gonna keep going, I guess. Beep boop, beep boop. Here's where I really went rogue. So basically pinning each of the edges down was too challenging, so I decided to use some good old-fashioned purple Endler's glue stick, and then I trimmed the corners and pressed things down so that it would lie neat and I would have some more control. So I've got all the flower. Ooh! So the next step is to unpick the pocket. So I want to make it look like this flower is coming out of the pocket. I'm not gonna just like stick it in the pocket. I'm gonna unpick this, and then I'm gonna unpick a little bit of this side seam, just where the design is gonna coincide with the edge. So unpick to there. Unpick here, unpick here. You can see the stitching, and then it'll be easier to get your seam ripper in there. Ooh, yeah. The reason I'm doing this is because if I didn't, then it really would just look like stuck on. It wouldn't look as much as if it was part of the sweatshirt to begin with. So this is ready. I'll do the same thing with the pocket. Let's try it on and see how that looks. And then I'm gonna sew this, and I'm gonna sew this, and then I'm gonna go around. Is this brown? I'm actually gonna hand applique it because the shape is so regular and I think it would look really nice. I'm gonna show you how to do the blanket stitch. Then I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna go in here about 1/4 of an inch away and then come up just behind, and I'm catching the sweatshirt under. Then I have this essentially wrapped around. I'm gonna pull. Then I'm just gonna keep going around. And this looks super cute. I like the hand applique element. I think that'll look lovely. Okay, I am done with my experiment. I think this is really fun, and obviously it's not perfect, but who is? The whole purpose of doing something like this is to make something that is already well loved and in your closet actually more wearable and feel more like you, and I definitely feel that about this. Look at that, that's so cute. Thanks so much for hanging out in the studio with me. I had a blast putting this together and thinking through these ideas. If you are somebody that wants to be part of a growing creative community and share the work that you make and be provided even more inspiration that you see here and art guidance, you can head to my Patreon. I'd love to hear about what you're working on. If you do any sustainable fibers, especially, leave that. I would love to know. You can become a fellow maker, a studio supporter, or even be a free member and receive all sorts of fun goodies as well. If you would like to see my available large-scale oil paintings made from my earth pigments as well as smaller works, you can check out my website here and see my As Fall Emerges shop update. So many more patchwork sustainable projects to come. I'm going to be continuing to work on my artist workwear wardrobe and would be happy to share some of those projects. Also, I started this little experiment with more of an improvisational technique. So if you are somebody that's like, I don't really want to do a specific pattern, I totally get it. I made my first few jackets and projects just doing total improvisational stuff and not following any sort of design. I just wanted to make up my own. More guidance on my techniques that I talked about today will be found on my Patreon, so check that out if you're interested in doing more sustainable making. See you later, alligators. Bye. See, this is what happens. That's my problem. I get too excited and then I start like 1,000 different things. So I will not be changing my ways. It's like you thought I was gonna say something else. I'm not changing. This is who I am. My bunny is gonna save me. Right, where'd my shirt go? Folks.